Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Listen and Learn. I'm Ben.
And I'm Anna.
Glad to have you with us as always.
Always a pleasure to be here.
So today, we're going to be diving into something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and that's procrastination.
Oh, yeah.
Putting things off, you know?
For sure. It's something we can all relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not just going to be talking about, what procrastination is, because I think we all know what it is.
Right.
We're going to be talking about why we do it.
The reasons behind it.
Exactly. And more importantly, how we can kind of overcome it.
Yeah.
So, I guess first off, why do we procrastinate? I mean, I know for me, sometimes it's fear of failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
get so caught up in thinking about what if it doesn't work out or what if I mess up?
It's like that fear is paralyzing almost.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like I just get stuck and I don't even want to start.
And it's interesting. There's actually research that shows that our brains process the threat of failure in a similar way to physical pain.
Oh, wow. So it's not just in our heads. It's like a real biological response.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
no wonder that we try to avoid it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But how do we overcome that fear? How do we stop letting it hold us back?
Well, one thing that can help is to reframe how we think about failure.
Okay.
Instead of seeing it as this big, scary endpoint.
Right, like a stop sign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, think of it more as feedback, like valuable information that can help you learn and grow.
So like a stepping stone.
Yeah, precisely. Think about Thomas Edison. He went through thousands of failed attempts before inventing the light bulb.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing that story.
Yeah, and he famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
So it's like he turned those failures into opportunities to learn and improve.
Exactly.
So it's all about changing our perspective.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. But what about when it's not fear of failure? What about when it's just a lack of motivation?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah, I get that feeling too. It's like that. I just don't want energy.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, how do you get motivated when you just don't feel like it?
Well, the thing about motivation is that it often follows action.
What do you mean by that?
We tend to think we need to feel motivated to start something, but sometimes it's the starting that actually creates the motivation.
So it's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Exactly.
It's like just taking that first step, even if it's small, can create its own momentum.
Precisely. It's like pushing a heavy object. The hardest part is getting it moving. Once it's in motion, it's much easier to keep it going.
Oh, that's a great analogy. I like that. So starting small and just getting started is key.
Yeah.
But what about when it comes to time management? I feel like that's another big reason why I procrastinate. It's like, I always think I have more time than I actually do.
Right. It's like that later becomes never.
Exactly. And then I end up rushing and stressing at the last minute.
Yeah. And that just adds so much unnecessary pressure and anxiety.
It really does.
Yeah.
So how do we break that cycle? How do we get better at managing our time?
Well, there are actually a lot of strategies that can help, but I think the first step is to become aware of how you're actually spending your time.
So track your time.
Exactly. Keep a time log for a few days and just write down everything you do and how long you spend on it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've never actually tried that before.
Yeah, it can be really eye-opening because you might be surprised at how much time you're wasting on things that aren't actually that important.
Right, like scrolling through social media or watching videos.
Exactly. And once you know where your time is going, you can start to make changes.
So it's like the first step to solving any problem is to understand it.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. So once we identified our time wasters, what's next?
Well, the next step is to start prioritizing your tasks.
Okay.
Figure out which tasks are the most important and urgent and focus on those first.
So it's like making a to-do list, but with a focus on what really matters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And there are different methods you can use to prioritize your tasks, like the Eisenhower matrix, which divides tasks into 4 quadrants based on their urgency and importance.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a really helpful tool for getting clear on what needs to be done and when.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So prioritize tasks and then what?
Then it's all about scheduling your time, blocking out specific time slots for different tasks.
So creating a schedule for yourself.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be super rigid, but having a general plan for your day can help you stay on track and make sure you're making time for the things that are important to you.
So it's like having a roadmap for your day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about understanding why we procrastinate, and we've touched on some strategies for overcoming it.
Right.
But we've got a lot more to cover.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Exactly. So stay tuned because we're going to be diving into 10 power moves to help you crush procrastination and start taking action.
We've got some really practical and effective tips coming up.
Absolutely. So don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back after a short break. All right, so we're back and ready to dive into those power moves you mentioned.
Yes, we are. Let's do this. So power move number one is all about starting small.
Okay.
I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed by like the sheer size of a task. You know, it's
Yeah.
like we look at this mountain of work and we're just like, I get
It's
it.
paralyzing.
It is. So instead of trying to tackle the whole thing at once, we need to break it down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah, like bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. So instead of saying, I'm going to write a book, you say, I'm going to write a page today.
Or even just a paragraph.
Yeah, exactly. Or instead of cleaning the entire house, you start with just one room.
Right. It's all about making it feel less daunting.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that sense of accomplishment you get from completing those smaller steps can actually fuel your motivation to keep going.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so power move number two is one of my personal favorites, and it's called the 5-minute rule.
Oh, I love this one.
So the idea is you commit to working on something for just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
That's it. And you know what? You'd be surprised how often you end up continuing way beyond that initial 5 minutes.
Yeah, because once you get started, that momentum starts to build.
Exactly. It's like tricking your brain into taking action.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're like, okay, just 5 minutes. And then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm actually getting into this.
And before you know it, an hour has gone by.
Exactly.
And you've made significant progress.
And it works for almost any task.
It really does. Okay, power move number three is remove distractions.
Oh, this is a big one.
It is. I mean, we live in a world of distractions. You know, our phones, our computers, social media, it's everywhere.
It's constant.
It is. So we need to be proactive about creating a distraction-free environment for ourselves.
So like putting your phone on silent or turning off notifications.
Exactly, or finding a quiet workspace where you can really
Or
focus.
even using noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah, those could be lifesavers. Right. So power move number four is set a deadline. I think a lot of times we procrastinate because we have this vague idea of when we need to get something done.
Right. It's like, oh, I'll do it sometime this week.
Exactly. But without a concrete deadline, it's easy to just keep pushing it off.
So like a specific date and time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I'll finish this report soon, try saying, I'll finish this report by 5 p.m. on Friday.
Right. That creates a sense of urgency.
It does. And it makes it harder to procrastinate because you know that the clock is ticking.
Exactly.
Okay, power move number five is reward yourself.
Oh, I love this one.
This is all about making hard work a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah, like giving yourself something to look forward to.
Exactly. So it could be something small, like taking a break to watch your favorite show.
Or having a piece of chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Or it could be something bigger, like planning a weekend trip.
The point is to associate hard work with something positive.
So you're more likely to stick with it.
Exactly.
Okay, power move number 6 is make a to-do list.
This is a classic.
It is, but it's a classic for a reason because it works.
It really does.
There's just something about writing things down.
It makes them feel more real.
It does, and it helps you stay organized and on track.
And crossing things off your list is so satisfying.
It is, it's like a little victory every time.
Exactly.
Okay, power move number 7 is find an accountability partner.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is about finding someone who can support you and hold you accountable for your goals.
So like a friend, a family member, or a colleague.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who you can check in with regularly and share your progress with.
It's helpful to have someone to keep you motivated and on track.
Especially when you're feeling tempted to procrastinate.
Exactly.
Okay, power move number 8 is change your environment.
Okay.
Sometimes a change of scenery can do wonders for your productivity.
Yeah, like if you're always working at your desk, try going to a coffee shop or a library.
Or even just moving to a different room in your house.
Right. A fresh perspective can really help to spark creativity and motivation.
Exactly. Okay, power move number 9 is consider the consequences. This is about thinking about what will happen if you don't take action.
So like the potential negative consequences.
Exactly, because sometimes a little dose of reality can be the best motivator.
Right. It's like, okay, if I don't finish this project on time, I might lose my job.
Or I might miss out on a big opportunity.
Exactly.
Okay, and finally, power move number 10 is be kind to yourself.
Ah, I love this one.
This is so important because we
Yeah.
often beat ourselves up when we procrastinate.
Yeah, we're our own worst critics.
We are, but it's important to remember that everyone procrastinates sometimes.
It's normal.
It's part of being human. So instead of getting down on yourself, try to be understanding and forgiving.
Yeah, give yourself some grace.
Exactly. And remember that progress takes time.
It's a journey, not a race.
Exactly. So Celebrate your small wins
And learn from your mistakes.
and keep moving forward one step at a time.
Okay, so those are our 10 power moves to crush procrastination.
Yes, they are. And we really believe that if you put these into practice, you can overcome your procrastination habits and start achieving your goals.
You've got this.
Absolutely. Actually help you to be more productive.
Yeah, it seems kind of counterintuitive, but when we push ourselves too hard for too long, we actually become less efficient.
Right. It's like our brains need a break to recharge.
Exactly. So step away from your work for a few minutes, take a walk, get some fresh air.
Or even just do some stretches at your desk.
Yeah, anything that helps you to clear your head and come back feeling refreshed.
Okay, tip number 7 is learn to say no.
Oh, this is a big one.
It's so easy to get caught up in trying to please everyone and saying yes to everything.
But then we end up feeling overwhelmed and stressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's important to set boundaries and prioritize our own time and energy.
Like it's okay to say no to things that aren't a good fit for you or that you don't have time for.
Right. And it's okay to delegate tasks whenever possible.
Yeah, delegation is a lifesaver.
It is. If you don't have to do everything yourself, don't.
Exactly. There are people who can help, so let them.
Right. And then tip number 9 is use technology to your advantage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are so many great tools and apps out there that can help us be more productive.
It's amazing what technology can do these days.
It really is. So use those calendar apps to schedule appointments and set reminders.
And use to-do list apps to keep track of your tasks.
Yeah, and don't forget about time tracking apps. So those can be really helpful for seeing where your time is actually going.
Oh, that's a good point. And then finally, tip number 10 is be patient and persistent.
This is so important.
It is, because effective time management is a skill. And like any skill, it takes time and practice to develop.
Exactly. So don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately.
Just keep working at it, and eventually you'll find a system that works for you.
And remember, everyone's different. So what works for one person might not work for another.
That's so true. It's all about finding what works best for you.
Exactly.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. We've covered a lot of ground, from procrastination to motivation to time management.
It's been a jam-packed episode.
It has, but hopefully it's been helpful and inspiring for our listeners.
I hope so.
And remember, if you're struggling with any of these things, you're not alone.
We all face challenges.
We do. But with the right tools and strategies, we can overcome them and achieve our goals.
Absolutely. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself.
And on that note, thanks for joining us on English Listen and Learn.
Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Let's learn some new vocabularies together. Putting things off. It means delaying or postponing tasks that should be done. Example 1. I keep putting things off instead of finishing my homework on time. Example 2. Stop putting things off and start working on your project today. Mess up. It means to make a mistake or do something wrong. Example 1. I messed up my presentation because I forgot my notes. Example 2. Be careful with the recipe or you might mess up the cake. Break that cycle. It means to stop repeating a negative habit or pattern. Example 1. He needed to break that cycle of procrastination to improve his grades. Example 2. To stay healthy, she decided to break that cycle of eating junk food every day. Prioritize. It means to decide what is most important and focus on it first. Example 1. I need to prioritize my studies before playing video games. Example 2. Good time management helps you prioritize tasks effectively. Sense of accomplishment. It means a feeling of pride and satisfaction after achieving something. Example 1. Finishing a difficult project gives me a strong sense of accomplishment. Example 2. She felt a sense of accomplishment after learning a new language. Thanks for watching. Until next time.